I just said these. You should have just I'm like in there somewhere.
Girl, do what you gotta do at your house.
You better go to the grocery store.
Did you lose your cup?
Your cup was on the table.
I did not take it.
It might be on my desk in my room. It might be on my desk in my room. I'll let you know when I get back.
That's enough.
I brought his cup today because he got out in school in the bathroom. Shelly goes, oh my gosh, John. He called last night. Yeah, I am, but I had to get her race. Sometimes.
Unless it's somebody's longer.
When you refresh it, it should be the first one.
You can't do that one. The rest of you can.
All right, it is time to break forth the rhythm of the rhyme. Let's let the high school get to it. All right, it's 1:30. Plenty of time, no need to rush. Deep breath. Nobody knows this better than you do. Let's have some fun.
Jacqueline, is that camera on? Because I feel like I can't perform. Welcome everybody. My name is John, principal of high school, Clay Center High School. I kind of did this in my OVT meetings that we had the other day. I started out with thank yous, but as I look around the room, it's kind of turned into we're sorry. I remember the first time I got off the bus down here. Everybody else brought like one carload, and here comes the bus of Clay Center people. Just kept going, you know, coming in. So, kind of apologies there. Thank you to my pilot, my co-pilots, my ground crew here. It's been a long flight. but I think it's been well worth it. Brandon Johnson coached all the way through this. Thank you very much for your help, your support. You know, Smoky Hill, as far as hospitality when we come down here, has been second to none. I mean, the meals that you provide, the breakfast, the free pop, I think has been some of my Diet Pepsi crew out there have really appreciated that. The state, we had our, like I said, we had our OVT KISA committee meetings the other day. I appreciate the fact that we're able to take our KISA model and, you know, just overlay it right into our redesign. That has been really nice to be able to do that, so thank you for that. Two phrases that when I became a principal I started out with, and I still use them today, and they don't change. We started out with slow is fast. And I think we maybe said that our first trip down here, our first meeting. And we did start out slow. I mean, you know, we were chomping at the bit. Some of my staff members, I've really got to rein in because they're like, let's do this. I'm like, just relax. Eventually that time's going to come because we start out slow and all of a sudden it's like we hit the nitrous. And we're just like, now we're at this point where we're about ready to launch and we're all going to launch. So that's been really nice to see. We know that we've had other teams that have come in and visited with us. Holton came and visited a couple weeks ago, and we're very honest with them. We told them to take their time and to put that time in, and it'll be well worth it, and it has been. The other one is same rope, same direction. We've got stickers that are in every single classroom. I've got a board that I made. It's off my grandpa and grandma's farm. Rope that I used to swing on, and my grandpa used to get after me all the time because I was scared of chickens, scared of livestock, but it's something that I truly believe in. And there's been a couple times that I'm like, I'm going to have to bring that board down here. You know, and Jenny was just like, my wife was just like, you're going to take a board down there? I'm like, she's seen the board. Because I truly believe that as I look around this room, it's all of us. We were in the OVT meeting the other day, and I turned to, was it you, Dawn, or Laura? Maybe both of you. I was like, if these schools, Garfield and middle school, are doing those things that they say they're going to do, and they're successful, we're going to have to turn up our game. And we're going to have to pivot. And there's other things that we're going to have to fail forward on. And all these schools are doing these things. Wakefield, we share staff. You know, I really wanted Jordan on just my team. You know, Mr. DeWish, I'm not going to lie to you. And she did come to some of our meetings that we had in summertime. It's been nice for that transition because I truly believe that we all have to pull in that same rope in the same direction. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Murphy.
We're kind of building our whole presentation around our why statement. We feel very strongly, like Poet Maya Angelou did, that surviving is important. We all know that. But thriving is elegant. And that's the life that we want for kids and for ourselves and for our community. So this is really where we're starting today. We also feel very strongly that we are at a place with our community right now where it's the right time and it's the right place, and we are the right people, and we've got great kids, and we need to capitalize on this, and that we're going to use redesign to do that.
What many of you do not realize, because you were still in diapers at the time, is that in the 1980s, when I first started showing up at Clay Center was considered to be dying. And we had to rally to get ourselves going. Agriculture was becoming big business. About 10 years ago, K-State did a study for us and told us that Clay Center ought to consider herself a bedroom community. In other words, people would want to live in a quality community. They will want to work in Manhattan. They want to work in Junction City, Fort Riley. And so with that then, survival and thriving became very important to us. And this is the latest study from Wichita State that we could find, and it looks like Clay Center is looking at a 6% growth in about the next 50 years. So if we can continue to expand ourselves, modernize ourselves, we have a chance.
And it's worth noting that, as sad as it is, especially if you have a passion for the rural community like we do, those reds and pinks are depopulation. And so for us to be in that light blue and to be part of something that's bigger than ourselves and be able to affect that growth moving forward for our students who may come back to us, but the ones we just keep turning out to go out into the world as well, we take that very seriously. And so we'd like to drill down now with you into our community and talk to you about some of the really exciting things that are going on here. In a time when we are seeing rural hospitals close their doors in this state and others, we have not only kept ours open and operated in the black, but we have doubled into a whole new area in our building and then renovated everything else. And we really want to point out to you today that we live in a community that doesn't just take dollars from the government. We provide our dollars as well. And this is an ongoing number, but we as a community, individuals and groups, have given over $2 million to support our local hospital. And that within the next 2 or 3 years is going to bring back former Tigers to be family physicians with our group. Our Clay Center Zoo, you may not be familiar with, it's coming on the map. It will be. We've had a zoo, I mean, this is a WPA project from the 30s, right? And it was not in good shape. And it's the
USDA.
Thank you. I keep wanting to say FDA. I said that 85 times. The USDA basically came in a couple of years ago and said, listen, you either need to completely revamp it or you got to shut it down. You can't have the monkeys looking like this, okay? And our community said, then we'll revamp it. And local individuals and groups started giving money. Our students at elementary schools all the way up started raising money. In fact, you want to talk? Oh, no. We'll talk about that this season, sorry. Jumping ahead. And we'll touch more on this throughout the presentation, but really cool opportunity here for our school to partner with our public utilities. Local theater was kind of just dwindling, this big, gorgeous old building on the square, and local investors said we need to do something. And they have restored it to its former glory and also modernized it. They're looking at, I mean, we show movies there now, it just opened within the last year, but also our local drama, our drama department from the high school has put on productions there as well. Local animal shelter seems like a small story, but I think everybody in this room has bought a candle or gone to a spaghetti supper or somehow supported this shelter. It is completely built as a rescue shelter on local donations. And our kids have been part of that as well.
I can add here about
Yeah.
just. So I'm the National Honor Society sponsor as well as a science teacher, and we just did a penny war with Lincoln Elementary. One of our buds isn't here, but we raised around $770 through a penny war with them to give to the animal shelter, and kind of just talked to them about the importance of giving back to your community. So hoping to continue that every year and keep growing that and teaching them about the money aspect and the giving back. This is also kind of me. So aside of being a teacher, this is kind of near and dear to my heart. My mom owns a store in downtown, so before I got back into teaching, I worked at the store, and it's been my whole life because she's had it almost 33 years, and I'm 30. So I am super excited about the community partnerships piece of redesign, obviously because of where that fits with me. So this is just showing some of the stuff downtown. The courthouse clock just got redone. These are trees on the square. I think our breakfast club had a tree. I don't know if any other schools and groups had some on there, but we have a lighted parade, Thursday events that we're hoping, we'll kind of show you some examples coming up, but getting our kids involved in that is something that's super exciting to me, as well as my family too, on the prospects of what that can do for our community.
And then in 2011, our school partnered up with our community and some of the other schools as well And we built the Safari Run, and in the very center up top, you can see the kids' sketches and their plans for the playground, and it's located near the downtown. And most recently, we are looking into a massive mural project across the city, and we're having conversations with the students, and there's some excited ones that want to draw and plan and come up with what they want on what building, so we're excited about that piece. At the beginning of the school year, we dedicated our bronze tiger sculpture, and we are so fortunate to have this massive, beautiful, ferocious tiger. The picture doesn't do it justice, but we could not have made this possible without our alumni and our community. They really came together, not just in financial pieces, but the physical of getting those boulders in and just all the logistics. So we feel really strong about what's going on at Clay Center with the community, Clay Center Community High School, with the community connection and the alumni. And how can we join and continue this revitalization, transformation? We think our answer is redesign. So let's listen to a few of our students' comments about the prototyping that we've been doing and the redesign and how they feel.
Thing that you think has changed in the building because of redesign?
I feel like it definitely feels a lot more relaxed. Like not everybody is as so tense and uptight. Like it's just better.
Okay. I think Flexmod is working really well for me particularly. I like the free time I have and I feel like I'm really getting everything done.
So kind of going back through what we did throughout the school year, of course at the very beginning of the year we had to create our vision and our why and why we were doing what we were going to do. One of the first activities we did with our students, because we knew we needed to get student and staff feedback, was this activity. This is in an advisory group. The kids did a sticky note activity. They were asked 3 questions, and then they put their answers, of course, on these different posters. Staff went through a similar activity, and then we took all of that information and put it into a spreadsheet and looked for commonalities and kind of started creating our vision that way. We also knew we needed to survey parents and community members as well. These are some pictures from one in the upper right-hand corner, a volleyball game in September where we had laptops set up and a couple of our redesigned team members were kind of set up outside just as parents came in asking them, hey, would you mind taking the survey, and answering questions about kind of what is this redesign all about. Our Pietique celebration, also in September, we had kind of a similar type thing set up for community so that they also could provide feedback and kind of learn more about redesign. And then I think another group talked about the parade and the float that we had in the parade that weekend as well, kind of just promoting what we were doing. As we started to look at all of those responses that came through, of course we were looking for how do they fit into our 4 principles of redesign. And so we sort of started coming together with where we're going to go from here. And that's when we came back to our staff in an in-service, and we did, of course, the how might we statements. We had about 3 or 4 groups, I think, in that, and they each took a student, and they could pick any student they wanted to in our school, and ask questions. How might we address what this student needs? Created the best day for that kid, and kind of went through their design thinking process in creating what we could do for our kids. And as we finished up that day, then we started looking for commonalities. Like, what are we seeing in all of these different persona canvases and the how might we statements? And these were words that we asked our staff to enter into a Menti, and so you kind of see where what words came up a lot and where we needed to go from there. And so we took all of those words and kind of meshed them with the college and career competency wheel and found that there were a lot of the same words you see here were the words that our staff were saying and our students and our community saying, yep, this is what we need. And so, sometimes interpersonal, which one's which and what does that mean? And somebody that's not, in the education jargon, so we said, okay, we need words that people can understand. So we came up with these goal areas kind of from all of that, knowing oneself, learning for the future, and
the knowing oneself side, what we did, one of the big things we tackled this year was messing around with our schedule a little bit. We went through 2 prototypes, and we based these off of getting our students some personalized learning time. And that came from the feedback we got from them when they said, they're telling us that they're under some stress. They're having a hard time finding time throughout the day, not only to meet with teachers, but to meet with students if they're working on a project, or to just do some homework. We got kids that are involved in all kinds of activities. They have jobs, they have responsibilities at home. And so we wanted to find some time within the school day to accommodate their requests for that. So we started off with what we call the Tiger Hour. And that's the schedule on the left. And the Tiger Hour ran from 11:50 to 12:15. It was a 1-hour block in the middle of the day where the students could eat lunch during that time at any time they wanted to, and then have the rest of the time to go around and meet with other teachers, because the teachers had the same block of time available, or they could meet with other students, work on projects, just get some homework. Some of them just needed some downtime. And for a lot of our students, especially some of the high-risk students, that downtime where they could just relax for the day, maybe listen to music, read something. We even opened up the gym for kids to go in and get some physical activity. We felt like that was a great opportunity just to have that release in the middle of the day. We started that right after we got back from Christmas break, about the week after Christmas break in early January, and ran that all the way to the first week in April. We did a couple of surveys along the way, got a lot of positive feedback. Kids really liked that Tiger Hour and having that time during their day to do whatever it was they wanted to do. From there, we went on to the Flex Mod. We had a group of us go up to West Side High School in Omaha, and so we modeled that Flex Mod off of what they had. And when we first started to do that, the thought process was we wanted to customize our schedule, because we know that each class that we teach may have different needs. You may need more time in a shop class or a project-based class, and so we wanted to give teachers the flexibility to adjust their schedule based on their class needs, but still provide that PLT time, or that personalized learning time for our students with the flexible schedule. We did a pre-survey with our students, and of course we've been running the Tiger Hour for a couple of months at that point, and so there was some hesitation on the students' part because they really liked the Tiger Hour. So they were a little bit apprehensive going into this, but they gave it a shot. We ran a three-week prototype starting on April 8th, just finished that a week ago, and we did a survey each week along the way, and we found out that we had a lot of positive results from our students. They really liked that flexible time. They liked, in some classes being able to come in and come out when they needed to, if they needed to go to another class to work on a project or meet with the teacher, and the teachers were pretty flexible with that. And we felt like it was, for what we were working with at the time, it was fairly successful, at least for us to understand how a flex mod would work. Now, it didn't come without its challenges. We did have our challenges there. Basically, we were trying to take our traditional 8-hour schedule and fit it into a flex mod in the middle of the year. And you can imagine that it wasn't a perfect fit. We did realize that going in, that there was going to be some struggles there. But I think everybody went into it with an open mind and realized that, hey, this is not going to be perfect, but we're going to try to make this work. We did have some overlapping classes where there had to be some negotiations, and actually we could turn that into a positive as well, because I think it opened up some communication between students and teachers on how do I give and take a little bit in order to make these classes work. We did because of taking our schedule and fitting into this, we were going to have a lot of open time or unscheduled time for the students, and so we realized that we probably had more time where they didn't have a scheduled class than we would like, and so we do have a plan for that going into the future. We also realized that we need to make sure we've got a good management system for tracking attendance and just making sure we know where all the students are at all times. It was a challenge, but I think it was what we gained from it was important. We learned by doing it what are some good things about it, what are some bad things about it, what we can do differently. And I think if we hadn't done that, I don't think we would have the knowledge we have right now going forward with this type of a schedule. We also got comments from staff that had requested certain amounts of time for this model, and then I think they realized maybe I don't need that much time on this day, or maybe I need to get just the time that I need for my classes with it. So I think it was good for our staff to realize what kind of time they actually need for their classes. And through that, in the last couple of weeks, we've actually developed what we think is going to be a hybrid type of a schedule that combines the best of both of these schedules, but also eliminates some of the cons, or tries to minimize some of the cons that we came across when we were looking at that.
It can be sometimes, I mean, you hear flex mod, and we get pinged a lot from other places about that. It's not really about flex mod, it's about what we can do with students can do in their personalized learning time within that schedule. And so we just wanted you to be able to see some of the things that have been ongoing during students' personalized learning time, like extra extension time in the Spanish classes and working together.
Chaotic mess.
Yeah, in Josie's room. And of course, Jerry Ann Holt, one of our seniors, her final project is working on a mural during that time. We also have had some visits because, I mean, this is new and it's new for our area. And so State Representative Susie Carlson stopped in last week, and it's just really cool to be able to say, don't talk to us, go talk to our kids, you know, and they have a lot to share with those people when they come.
Okay, this is what I tried in my classroom as a prototype this year for chemistry. Like some of you were talking about, especially Garfield, like you were saying, at the end of the day, kids are just like, whoa. You know, so I would look out and it was me and they were just sitting and getting, and I'm like, this is not gonna work. Also, being a science teacher, I did not have the time I needed for the hands-on learning. So not only did the schedule facilitate that, but I was able to do a lab block that's 80 minutes with the flex mod and combine some mods so I could do more hands-on. So I kind of just completely flipped my classroom for 4 weeks, and we're just wrapping it up tomorrow. And it's been a whole different change. I have used Explain Everything and recorded my lectures, me talking, writing, showing graphics, working out problems. Then I've uploaded them into Edpuzzle, and it's all synced with Google Classroom, so my kids get on Google Classroom. The Edpuzzle link is up there. They watch the video. On my view of Edpuzzle, I can see their progress. I know when they start, when they stop, what % they watch, and then I've inserted questions into the videos so I can give them feedback. I know what their answer was, and I can give them the correct answer, and it's all graded for me in there and shows me their progress. So my unit, I did about gas laws, which is a lot of math and equations. So I kind of did one objective at a time, which was 8 videos, and all the kids got a packet. And on the front was a checklist, and so it said objective 1 is video 1. You need to watch it, and then here's your tasks. And then we would do some hands-on activities and stuff with it, and they just had a checklist and could go through, work at their own pace. I had kids who were like, I'm ready for the next video, I'm ready for the next video. So I ended up kind of just pushing them all out at once, which is not what I planned, but it's what the kids needed. They were ready to go. I put signs up on my board, and they would come in, and the first one said, I need a mini lesson with you on it. I didn't quite understand. The next one was, I'm just ready to work independently. I just need the time to kind of go through and work on the problems. And then the other one was, I'm done with everything. I'm ready to show it to you, and I want to start the next stuff. Like, I've got it. So kids just put their name under which column. And it was a wide variety every day. And I didn't know until they showed up. So that was different for me. I think JD maybe said this a little bit where, like, it was just different that they were out there, you know, and you just, okay, we're all just going to go through the lesson as planned. So I just kind of had to back up and say, whatever they show up and they know or they don't know, I don't know where they're going to be, and we would just divide and conquer. So that's where my leaders came into play, who were the kids in that last column that were ready to go on to the next thing, and they could even help sometimes with the other kids. And so it was really cool to see them work at their own pace and stuff with it. Here's 2 of the kids that'll kind of share a little bit.
You're learning more or engaged more now?
I feel like we're engaged more now because we're doing the lesson at home and we have more time to do like classwork. I'm personally way more engaged. I feel like it's more you and not on the teacher. So you have to take responsibility for yourself, which I feel is important to learn as you get older. It can be helpful in college and throughout the rest of your life.
And these are just some quotes from surveys. I kind of did a beginning survey and a check-in, and then kind of a wrapping up, and so you can just read through those a little bit. But we've had a lot of trauma going on this week with our kids, and Sally couldn't be with us, but this is going to be a bad day. But she wanted me to share. One of our kids that's went through the struggles a lot, and he's been working with her this week. kind of video, and so he's been working with her, and then came to me yesterday, and we're just so thankful that he could still keep the learning process while he's trying to cope with everything. And that's something I never thought this would happen, you know? That's not what my intent was with this, but it's been truly amazing that he can still be with our counselors, work through this grieving process, but still have his learning going on at the same time. So that's been really cool, not anything I ever expected, but it kind of ties in with a couple of them that said being absent and they can still have the lesson and stuff. So she just wanted me to share that story since she is back with our kids today, but that's really been awesome for her too as a counselor, that a few of the kids she's been working with that I also have, that she's going to help them through the challenges and still keep that learning process going and stuff. So nothing that I ever intended would happen, but it's been
You could give some
really
heads up
awesome.
on that.
I really didn't want to, because she told me the other day, I know I can't come with you guys for the presentation, but can you please share how awesome that's been, that she has that packet and she's kind of followed along with these videos too as a counselor, and just kind of has been able to help kids through, you know, that have been struggling, and one that she just works really closely with all the time, and we're just trying to get them through each day right now, and that's been really awesome and nothing I ever expected, so that's been a cool aspect of it too. Okay, sorry. You can go to the next one. So as far as one thing Brandon was telling us when he came to the on-site visit was, we've worked a lot with the scheduling so that we can facilitate these things, but we're kind of trying to work next year and through the summer on our instructional strategies in the individual classrooms. So we've done a few prototypes, but these are 2 things. Nicole and I are going to this one during the last week of school, but we're going to Atlanta for a personalized learning summit to kind of learn more about this flipped classroom and other personalized learning techniques and things. And then we're sending, Jenny, you're going to this one, the project-based learning, and 2 other staff members as well, another science teacher in English. So we're trying to kind of get that PD in line and expand on the personalized learning into a lot of our classrooms for our kids, so.
All right, moving on to the Working with Others investigative team and that goal. Our public utilities came to the school and wanted to partner with our computer-aided drafting class and their instructor, Brad Connor, to design an entrance building for the zoo. Essentially, they are going through the redesign process with the zoo. So Scott Blakes, who's the superintendent, Brandon Gibson, who's an architect in the community, and a couple other community members who are experienced with construction at a commercial level as opposed to residential, worked with them. And so they did this project-based learning activity project. And I'm going to let Allie talk about it. This is Allie's excited face, you guys. And she is excited about this.
What do you do to design or plan the building that you just showed me?
We went off their original ideas and then just kept changing it until it was what they wanted. For this, this idea from the builder, and we just kind of went for that.
So did you have to make quite a few changes based on what they wanted?
Probably 5 to 10 times.
Did you talk with them, or did you mostly go through your teacher?
Mr. Blades came in.
Okay.
I think he was the only one talking to me.
Okay. Do you feel more comfortable working with a real life situation than you did before?
Probably. Architecture-wise.
Okay. What are some things that you learned because of this project?
Definitely will make a lot more changes than I thought.
Okay. What did you like about this project?
I like just designing stuff and making it look finished.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so on the next couple of slides, you'll see this is all created by the students. They also showed me their blueprints that they had created in class. And then these, I don't even know what these are called, these graphics, that's what I call them, that actually you can see what it would look like. So they have created meeting and community rooms, like you could have your child's birthday party there, food prep areas, like a break room area for the zookeepers. They have winter housing for birds. they had to look at ADA compliance and a number of things because it's a commercial building that they haven't really used or had to look at before in previous projects. And they had to change, Brad Connor said, the teacher, that it's kind of changed the direction of the program a little bit to look more at commercial applications and commercial CAD. So, is that the second picture? I think so. Okay, thank you. So, students have been empowered by partnering with the community in this project. And as a school, we are really increasing our career and technical education classes and pathways, including increased offerings in the medical and business fields. And we're really working, especially with our juniors and seniors, to take the career and technical Excel classes, which are college classes offered through the community colleges that are free for our students to take in various CTE areas. Sally Lee, who couldn't be here today, is going to be in a new position next year, half-time, as a community and career counselor, and we're greatly expanding our job shadowing and internship opportunities as part of our redesign.
The next prototype we did was our why is empowering all students to thrive now and in the future, and by all we mean not just Josie's Chem kids, but also our functional classroom. So once we started the Working with Others investigative team, Celeste Hamel came to us and said she had an issue with some of our functional students who really like to use our community, in particular the Rex theater, but their social skills were lacking. They would go into the bathroom and not really be able to get themselves out of the bathroom, things like that. So a group that actually came out of Dawn's advisory group is in the education pathway, and they took it upon themselves to create lesson plans, to create videos of appropriate customer behavior, all in their own time, and then when they were ready, they all happened to work in the rec, so that was convenient, but when they were ready, then they went into the functional classroom and taught their peers what that needs to look like. They practiced, and then when they were ready, Renee at the Rex opened up for that functional class to come in and use the skills that their peers had taught them to pay for their own tickets, know how to get to the candy stand and order their trays, and then she gave them a private viewing of How to Train Your Dragon. Before they went into the video, you can see, or the movie, you can see in the lower left, Renee then stopped and visited with them about how this is what you need now as a customer, but in the future, if you want to work here, these are the employability skills you will need, and talk to them about what needs they would have to have in order to work as part of the Rex staff. And these are two of our guys that are going to talk to you about what they got out of that experience.
What did you have to do before you all went to the Rex to get ready?
We had to check how much money we had so we could get in and buy snacks and stuff.
Okay. What did Renee show you when you went to the Rex?
She showed us what to do, and some of it how to do.
Did you have to buy your tickets and get snacks and everything?
Yeah.
Did she talk about if you worked at the Rex?
Yeah, she talked about that a little bit.
What did you learn about what you would need to know or do if you worked at the Rex?
Be nice to all the customers.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to share about that trip? Yeah. About what you learned about when you went to the Rex with your class.
Different jobs require different skill sets of different people. Like they take a master or whatever. You should have a good person, not a stuck-up personality, but like a friendly personality.
So in the future, she would like to see that prototype grow in using other businesses and other places where these students could be employable someday.
This is just them after a job Olympics, that first place in job Olympics.
So we've kind of come full circle and once again are showing our WAP statement. We've showed you the exciting things in our community, the exciting things we've been doing in our building. Now we'd like to show you the integration of those two. So currently at our hospital that we mentioned previously, you can't tell because they're all gowned up, but these are actually high school students who are doing suturing through the Medical Explorers Club, which meets about every month to 6 weeks or so and does different tasks in the hospital to expose the kids to that. We have a health pathways, career pathway, and we are looking at expanding that to also include EMT work as well. And she's going to talk about the internships that are available with that.
I go to the hospital and I job shadow the radiology department since that's what I'm going into. And I just follow them around and sometimes I get to help them do stuff that they need my help. And I'm learning a lot in this city and school.
That's another way that we can leverage our schedule as well with that personalized learning time. Obviously, our students are continuing their work with the Clay Center Zoo. We are being approached by more entities within the community as well, and I think they're already working on storage building down there in addition. What you see here is one of our seniors. You know, we talk a lot about employability skills. That is so important, but we want our kids to have passion too in their communities and things they're doing just because they want to do them, their hobbies, and they're volunteering. And Lowell's very passionate about our local animal shelter and has been going around and putting up signs so that people know more ways that they can be involved with that. We know that we would just love to be able to bring all these kids that we've trained up and given these resources and empowered in this way back to us, but we know that they're going to spread out. So whether they stay near with us or come back to us or head as far as London, we feel like through redesign, they're going to have the toolkit to go be leaders within their respective communities wherever they are around the planet.
To do that, they have to be active citizens. And our seniors are asked to go to school board meetings. They are asked to go to city council meetings. And believe it or not, the hospital board got after me because I did not have my seniors going to hospital board meetings. And so they go to hospital board meetings. But we are a rural community with conservative values, and our students don't get both sides. And so what you have in front of you is Senator Hawk has been working with us for quite some time with shadowing at the state legislature. Representative Carlson was sick this year, so we didn't really get to work with her very much. But what Senator Hawk did this year was he took our students into the Democratic caucuses at the state legislature. And these two young ladies are working to be lawyers, and they're going to be looking for helping people. And so this really triggered them and motivated them even further. These gentlemen were looking for the background of how the legislature works, you know, the behind the scenes types of things. And these two young ladies are very talented young ladies. They wanted to go, not part of my classroom necessarily, but they wanted to go as part of the 4-H. So community programs are working with us to expand the horizons of our students.
These are a few of our students who are doing great things around the world, really. We have Matthew Davidson next fall is headed off to Yale. We're very proud of him. We've got Evan Sewell serving in the Air Force. Nate Boyer, who's one of our previous graduates, had a pilot on the Discovery Channel. Precious Smith is studying acting in New York right now. Craig is our state sentinel for FFA. Alex Bloom is in Italy playing professional softball. And Mae Davis is a lawyer and staffer at the White House. And we say that because we feel like this is the tip of the iceberg for our community. And whether they stay with us or they go out through redesign, they're going to be ready. We just want to reiterate to you that we do feel like this is our time. We feel like Clay County is the place, and we are ready to launch.
Excellent job, especially with the circumstances surrounding each and every single one of you. Nice job pulling it together today and making this happen. She'll be very, very proud of yourselves. It's a great presentation. Message was on point. Everything was very crystal clear. It all tied together. Each of the redesigned principles, your goal areas. At first, I was like, why are we talking about everything going on in the community and not your school? Then at the very end, you tied it all together and said this is why it's important. I think that even the mention by you that we're all pulling on the same rope in the same direction, that involves everybody else in the community, so that's really important. So, excellent work. Other people like to chime in here?
So I really liked your goal statements and how you kind of made it personal and the voices of the kids and the community. I mean, that you're in a perfect place with your community that you can, it's small enough you can go out, but there's enough going on that you can have a lot of kids involved with the community, so I think that's great. It's wonderful.
Yeah, really strong community engagement going on there with your high school. It's really pretty impressive, and like Chris said too, that the environment kind of helps to allow for that, but there's nothing wrong with that. All kids have to learn to the best of their ability wherever they are, and we work with the resources we have, and you're really doing that. You really have you're taking full, I don't want to say advantage, I want to say full direction in tapping into every possible or many possible resources that you have. So it's great.
Like the strong connection you showed, I thought you did a great job too, of tying the community vitalization in the school. I mean, they're integral to each other. They're important to each other. The other thing I picked up that I liked was what's happening in chemistry, and I guess maybe that would be a word of encouragement. Look at that as a way to scale. And the thing that I wrote down that I picked up is that when the kids came in, they selected what they needed each day, giving them some voice and some choice in that too. Not necessarily what you thought or what we as the educators, this is what you need in English language arts today, or this is what you need in my American government class. So I just encourage you to maybe see if that's something that could be scaled and done. Maybe not the flip piece, but the choice piece.
Visit went really well. The two students that led me, the young lady that's FFA, I don't know if she's the president or what, she should be the president if she isn't. She was very impressive. She's going to be somebody that will be leading somebody somewhere someday, hopefully an educator. She will be.
She wants to teach you.
She should be.
She's thinking
middle
school.
She's great. Also saw I knew it was true with you, Paul, that your collective efficacy as a team is very strong. I tried to talk you out of flex mod for weeks. You just kept saying, don't worry about it, we got it. And you did. So I knew that your collective efficacy was really strong. You believed in it. But it was also true with the rest of your staff. Everywhere I went, those people were really passionate about what they were doing. They didn't even bat an eye at me being there. They just continued doing what they were doing as professionals. Instead of stopping and like freezing because some weird guys in the room, they just kept teaching and kept believing what they were doing what's best for kids. Very good culture in your school. It was very, very evident. The kids were very comfortable. You could tell that you did a good job of scaffolding what you were prototyping. You clearly communicated to them or got them ready for whatever it was, because there was just openness, and it was organized openness. The kids felt comfortable out in open spaces, being not alone, because there was always an adult near them, but they were pretty much alone and they could do what they wanted, but they were comfortable in that environment. speaks to volumes of the work you did before you allowed the prototype to happen, which can't be easy. You must have done a lot of work before that. Another thing that went really well in the visit was that you highlighted what is going well in the innovative side, but also what's going well in the past, like your construction, the construction side where you guys are building the house. That's been going on for years. It's not because of redesign, but that was really good to see. Pivoting's been good. I'm sure somebody would mention that besides me. You pivot, you kept pivoting. You're molding together two different things, Tiger Hour and Flex Mod, based on the feedback you got. That's excellent. I love that you're jumping into personalized learning to get a better understanding of that. Because like Chris said earlier, we're struggling with that as a state level. All of us are struggling with that. Go get more research.
I'll
Don't
be in Atlanta.
Yeah,
So,
she'll be I'll also be sending your names to Drea and Daniel. I'm going to hook up with you guys when you guys are down there. So, they'll be looking. Zoo project with the community was really powerful. I know you guys talked about it. I met her, and then I met a taller gentleman who made me look very little. Somebody's child. I know it's somebody's kid. I don't know.
Big kid.
Yes, a big kid. That was excellent. That was a real world application. PBL was excellent. Getting constructive feedback from somebody and saying this isn't right, you got to do it differently, and then they just handle that and they move. Timeliness, having to actually work on somebody else's time schedule, that's community engagement, or that's real world application. Excellent stuff. What else? Yeah, I know there's more. That's all I have, other than you guys are you're not the only ones. Many of us are here. Again, your team collective efficacy is very, very strong. And that's why I'm confident that no matter what happens after we remove ourselves from this process, this is going to last. Like, you guys really believe in this stuff. So that feels good to me. I always talk about visible learning with Hattie, and the number one thing for effectiveness for student outcomes is collective efficacy of the people implementing projects. So that is why I know it's going to last. It's by far the most important thing. So keep that going. Keep your teachers involved, whoever you have new, make sure you train them to what you want them to be. Don't just let them come in and destroy what you have done. You know what I mean? Give them the PDA they need as they come in. This is how we do business at ccchs. Might have missed the C there. So, I feel good. You guys feel good? Anything else you want to add? No? Okay. How about it? Nice job, guys. Small group photo. I mean, I think you guys are